In 1682, King Louis XIV of France moved his royal court to Versailles. Once a modest hunting lodge, it was expanded and transformed by Louis into a dazzling palace worthy of the self-proclaimed Sun King. French aristocrats were expected to live alongside him there, making Versailles the political and social heart of France. But for those who actually lived at Versailles, it wasn't the gold, mirrors, or chandeliers that stood out the most. It was the stench. Today, we're taking a closer look at what hygiene, or the lack of it, was really like at the Court of Versailles. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the Weird History channel and let us know in the comments which French or hygiene-related topics you'd like us to cover next. Now watch your step. Versailles hygiene was très mal. Bathing. Contrary to modern beliefs, people in the 17th century did not view hot baths as relaxing or hygienic. In fact, many believed bathing in hot water was dangerous to one's health. According to historian Jules Harper, warm water was thought to weaken the body and open the pores, allowing disease to enter. Because of this belief, people across Europe favored quick washes over long soaks. King Louis XIV was no exception. Historians believe the so-called Sun King took only 2 baths in his entire life. That's pretty nasty. However, this doesn't mean Louis completely ignored personal hygiene. He was known to wipe himself down with towels, scrub his body with alcohol and perfume, and wash his hands every morning. Still, sitting next to him at dinner would not have been pleasant for the nose. Body odor and clothing. Since bathing was rare, when Louis XIV got sweaty, he simply changed his clothes, particularly his shirt. Like his courtiers, Louis changed shirts multiple times a day. This practice signaled wealth and status, as clean linen was expensive. Perfumes helped mask odors, but body odor remained a serious issue. Sadly, for everyone involved, deodorant wouldn't become common until the 20th century. Toilets and waste. Today, answering nature's call is a private matter. At Versailles, it was anything but. Louis XIV often held meetings while seated on a commode, as did many members of his court. Most inhabitants had chamber pots in their rooms, and higher-ranking courtiers sometimes had private closets for this purpose. The first flush toilet didn't appear at Versailles until 1738, when Louis XV had one installed for his personal use. Versailles did have public latrines, but they were far too few for the massive population. As a result, they frequently overflowed. Sewage seeped through walls and floors, contaminating nearby rooms. Because plumbing was limited, chamber pots were often emptied directly out of windows. Passers-by had to walk carefully. Even Marie Antoinette was reportedly once struck by flying waste. If not tossed outside, waste was carried to cesspools. Still, many courtiers simply relieved themselves wherever convenient. Seeing someone urinating in public was common. Princess de Harcourt thought nothing of relieving herself in public. In 1702, Princess Elizabeth Charlotte of Germany described the court bluntly. People stationed in the galleries piss in every corner. It is impossible to leave one's apartment without seeing someone peeing. Louis XIV eventually ordered servants to clean up waste weekly, but the damage was already done. Odors. By all accounts, Versailles smelled horrific. One eyewitness claimed the odors in the gardens, courtyards, and palace itself were enough to make a person gag. Hallways were filled with urine and feces, while stagnant water and dead cats littered nearby avenues. To counter the smell, courtiers doused themselves in perfume. Historian Elaine Corbin noted that excessive perfume use was believed to purify the air. Unfortunately, it only made things worse. Sex workers. Versailles was also a hub of romantic and sexual activity. After the court moved there, workers and nobles flooded the area. The surrounding forests became open-air brothels. Louis XIV publicly condemned such immorality and harshly policed sex workers. Privately, however, he maintained numerous mistresses. A ruler saying one thing and doing another? Shocking. Dental problems. By the time Louis XIV died in 1715, he was completely toothless. His dental issues were common among the aristocracy. Refined sugar became widely available in the 17th century, and nobles consumed it eagerly, often with disastrous results. Despite widespread tooth decay, beauty standards prized white, even teeth. Courtiers used powders and mouthwashes to fake healthy smiles. By the mid-18th century, improved dentistry made oral hygiene a symbol of elegance. Wigs and lice. Louis XIV helped popularize wigs, possibly to hide thinning hair, but wigs also served another purpose: lice control. Lice preferred wigs over scalps, and boiling a wig was easier than removing lice from hair. Men often shaved their heads to wear wigs. Women generally did not. Food and disease. Poor hygiene affected food preparation as well. On at least one occasion, sewage seeped into Marie Antoinette's private kitchen, contaminating the food. Although hand-washing was part of royal dining rituals, food was often mishandled. Intestinal parasites were common. Even the king suffered from tapeworms. During one episode, Louis reportedly expelled a worm nearly 6 inches long. Why Versailles was so filthy? Versailles was never an ideal site for a royal court. It lacked flowing water and was built on marshy ground. When Louis moved his entire court there and stayed permanently, the sanitation situation collapsed. Servants simply couldn't keep up with the waste produced by thousands of residents. Versailles was filthy, but perfect if you loved cats. Cats roamed freely, attracted by food waste and rodents. Their presence caused further sanitation problems. Droppings were everywhere, and dead cats lined the streets. Puce and other colors. The reddish-brown color puce got its name at Versailles. In 1775, Marie Antoinette wore a gown in that shade, prompting Louis XVI to compare it to un puce, a flea. The name stuck. Another fashionable color emerged after the birth of Louis XVI's heir in 1781, caca dauphin, named for its resemblance to baby excrement. Charming. Cleaning up. After Louis XIV died in 1715, his great-grandson Louis XV inherited the throne. Recognizing the palace's appalling hygiene, he began renovations, most notably extending sewage pipes to move waste farther away from the palace. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. So, what do you think? Would you have liked living at the Court of Versailles? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to check out more videos from Weird History.